guys, you know what today is? It's one of my favorite days. I get to actually talk to two compadres that know what they're doing. My name's Stu Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. Have you ever had that uncle that just kind of walks down at a family dinner and goes, these three guys walked into a bar? Well, I got two compadres, and this is the three podcasters walk into a bar. Welcome. And I have my two compadres are just absolutely brilliant. I got the David Blackman. David is not only cool, he is a Forbes contributing author, senior contributing author. He's got another podcast with some great people, Irina Slav and
Armando Cavana from Brazil.
He is cool. I love just his accent. Awesome. And then we have also, you have your energy question. And I mean, your energy question podcast, you got the who's who coming around the corner here. I think Trump called me and asked to go on your podcast.
Oh, boy, now that would be a hoot.
Yeah, it would. I'd pay money to like push you out of the way. Then we got RT. I mean, the RT Trevino, and he is the head over there at Pecos Operating, Country Operating. I can't even read your own sign there. And RT has the crude truth. I mean, you want to know what's going on? His podcast has blown through the roof. He's got some guests coming around the corner. Unbelievable. They actually look better than he does.
That's not a high bar to go over there, Stu. Thank you so much. And I hope, and I got to say, no, I'm not the head honcho. I mean, that's still the man, the myth, the legend, my father, Ray Trevino Jr. So I got to, but I try to do what I can, and we can here at Pecos Country Operating.
We have this now available on all channels, and we've got it on YouTube. We're going to Rumble. We're going to go all of these places, and both of our fans right now, it ain't your dad, because I track IP addresses.
Yes, you do.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't. All right, guys. RT, you're first up. What do you got?
So let's get ready to rumble. Let's do this. I'm excited. We're about to launch on there. Right now, guys, being a man out in the field in the oil and gas industry, and, I like to focus primarily on us here in America and what we're doing, but we are getting more global as we go around. And today, the British Prime Minister.
I'm going to cut you off here for a sec. David, what the hell were you doing?
What do you mean? Well, yeah. He's talking about what's going on in Britain, so that's a little tense. I'm tensing up.
Sorry, RT.
You want to go somewhere else first?
Yeah,
that's good.
Like, we were dissing RT by not respecting him here.
No, so, I'm just getting ready to jump in here.
No, sorry, RT. We're having too much bar fun.
It's a blast. It's truly a blessing to sit here today and talk about oil and gas.
Okay.
And,
you were talking about somebody quitting in UK.
Quitting in Britain.
Quitting in Britain. There you go. Yes. Guys, she was there so quick. I don't even top of my head remember her name, but the brand new prime minister that was 6 weeks on the job has now resigned today. From a global standpoint, what does that do, guys? I mean, again, I'll play the guy that's just here in America, but I feel like that probably has some big impacts globally.
Go ahead, Dave. I
would certainly think so. It's the Britain economy is not one of the biggest in the world, although I guess it's probably one of the 10 biggest. But what happens there if there's a financial crisis, as they've been kind of on the brink for a couple of weeks. If there's a financial crisis in Britain, it's likely to have cascading impacts to their trading partners and and across the United Kingdom, which still spans a good part of the world. So it's a bad deal. Her name was Liz Truss, still is. She didn't die. She just resigned. But now the rumor is that Boris Johnson, the guy with the weird hair, is going to make a comeback among the Tories and stand for election as the party leader and be named the prime minister again. So we'll see where that
Yeah,
goes.
look at RT and I. We're both doing the, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's what's going to happen.
What?
Probably.
Could that be foreshadowing of what's going to happen here in America in 2 years?
I had that same thought. The guys with the weird hair are making a comeback here. So,
All right.
maybe.
Now you're throwing rocks.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
at least Boris Johnson has hair, Stu, unlike you and me.
I got more hair on my back than he has on his head.
I got more on my ears than I have on my head.
Okay. RT.
Yes.
You can't remember her name because it's like a bucket of water. Y'all know that story?
I do not.
I do know.
I'm afraid to hear it,
When-
though. This is a
when-
family show.
Oh, it is. Now, let's say that RT can't remember her name. When she leaves, my dad always said, my pappy, as you would say there, RT, it's like a bucket of water. You get the coldest bucket of water you can. You walk up and you force your hand into that cold water. As long as you can pull it out, pull it out. And when those ripples stop across that, you will not miss that person again. That ain't very long. So
Okay,
you
where's
can't
my
even
bucket?
remember.
I'll
Now,
try
here's
that.
the thing. Okay, she was actually bringing sanity to the UK. I mean,
Yeah.
she was
was
checking
trying.
off all the boxes. Let's turn this ugly baby around and keep going. And she did it, and all of a sudden, everybody went, "No, you're not."
Yeah. Bank of England didn't like what she was doing. And,
I wonder who's
You
getting
know.
paid off.
well, I just can't even speculate about that. I just know that if the British Labour Party takes over in the UK
Right.
at the next election, which, the polls that are out there show the Labour Union or Labour Party running
Right.
well ahead of the Tories, boy, that will be a disaster for England, an
Now,
absolute disaster.
Is Boris Johnson the one that they'll pick from the Labor Party?
No, he's the Tory,
He's the Tory,
he
okay.
resigned, and Liz Truss, they held an election within, how it works is they have an election within the party now. She's the prime minister of the majority party in parliament. And so she's resigning. That means the Tories have to have an election like we have an election for Speaker of the House in the United
Right.
States. And whoever becomes the leader of the Tory party is going to become the prime minister because they'll have a majority of the votes in parliament. But if
Okay.
you have a national election of the population, the populace, which I don't know when the next one is scheduled in England. I think it's year after next, if I'm
Right.
remembering right. And the Labour Party should win the majority of the seats in the parliament, then you would have a Labour prime minister and a Labour government. And that's just basically a communist government.
Hey, RT, I bet the Queen could vote under, some of the cities in the US.
Yeah,
Oh, cities in the U.S. probably.
yeah, she
I
could
was about to say, I
certainly
don't know how
vote in
well that joke
Philadelphia.
could go over in Britain right now, Stu. Too
I know
early,
she-
Stu. Too
I
early.
know she could vote in Philadelphia or in Crystal City, Texas. I
There
know
you
that
go.
for a fact.
There
There's a
you
moment
go.
of silence. God bless the Queen. King, sorry.
God bless the king. Hey, my dad's 70, and she was in power, or she was the head of the monarch, or she was head for 70 years.
The head of the mob? What did you say?
No. She's just the head of the empire. I don't know
Yeah,
I don't know what the proper terms are anymore. She was
you're
the queen.
right. She was the monarch. She was the
Yeah.
queen. Yeah, since 1952.
Yep.
Is
Long
there
time.
anything, David, is there anything you don't know?
There's so many things I don't know, but I can generally make something up that sounds believable.
Well, how are those Dodgers looking right now?
Pretty darn sorry. But I'm still wearing the cap. I'm a fan.
Wait, they're not in anymore, are they?
No, they got skunked by San Diego.
That's right, they did. I forgot.
Yeah.
Coming around the corner,
All right,
David.
here we go.
Here we go. Coming around the corner. I'm going to ask you some questions on this one because I got this off Forbes.
Yes.
And the author of record on this is David Blackman, but I
That's that
recognize some
crazy
of my
guy.
writing in here. And I know that you took some, just kidding. But no, this was a heck of an article. And anybody that is, you can tell your publisher there that I'm contributing to you because I had to go buy a license or a subscription.
Yeah,
just
to
so
get
I could
past the
copy.
paywall, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get articles somehow. But, you know, we have had the biggest drawdown in the history of any president.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you guys what you're thinking about the SPR. The SPR, I mean, we're facing because our beloved president right now has offended Putin. He's offended Saudi Arabia. He's offended Iran, Iraq, Venezuela. Who has he not is probably an easier one. And so China is going to, invade that because Speaker of the House has been jumping over to Taiwan. We got some folks that are actually stirring up some trouble around the world. So if you need an SPR, we only have how many days? 24 days, 20 days, something like that.
We have 20 days of national supply
Right.
left in the SPR.
And the extra 15 will put it probably below that, wouldn't it?
It'll put it, down to 19 days, basically below 400 million barrels.
Okay.
In the SPR, and that's to me a very dangerous thing. Yeah.
In one hurricane, I think the biggest hurricane that we've had in quite a while took 20 million barrels borrowed from the SPR just to keep us afloat. And so if we have another disaster in the Gulf, if we have something, we could be hurting pretty bad.
Well, and that's the point I made. I mean, this is a president who runs around saying we're in wartime. He's telling his big donors that he's worried about the nuclear conflict with Russia. And then at the same time, he's drawn down over 200 million barrels now out of our strategic petroleum reserve in just 11 months. And he's promised yesterday to draw down more. And, it's a completely contradictory narrative he's telling, and somebody needs to call it out.
Do you think he is doing this just to lower the price before the midterms?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's every bit of this has been strictly politics. The SPR is there for a national emergency. $4 gasoline is expensive. I get that, but it's not a national emergency.
But voting is.
But voting, well, yeah. Counting the votes is, I think. But it's pure politics. It's really disgusting, frankly. I couldn't use that word. I don't think that would have met Forbes editorial standards, but that's what it really is. This is a disgusting abuse and an irresponsible abuse of American national security. And there's not enough people calling it what it is, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And the other point I made in that was the obvious question that someone in the room could have asked him. He did a press availability, and that question never came up, not even from the Fox reporter. So it's just.
Guys, was that the one where he said he's never hampered oil and gas production? You guys, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Was that it, RT? I mean, he stood up there and said, I have never, I'm talking like RT again, I have never, stopped production. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Why didn't somebody ask about that?
Well, that's funny you mentioned that, because guess what? He's not lying. He has not done it. Everybody else are the ones that have I know he's playing politics and playing with his words. Well, we all agree that it's because of him and these policies that they're pushing that that oil and gas production has gone down. I mean, we talk about that on Three Podcasters all the time. But right now, we are in I think the nuclear thing is a look over here. while the inflation's going on and we have these prices, gas prices where they're at and these oil prices where they're at, I don't think, I would like to think, and I believe that that is a fake, that's true fake news that he created, as the right, or as the media would have said 3 years ago. And the fact that he's drawing down another 15 million barrels to lower the price right before the election is nothing more than a blatant price fixing job. He is lowering the price, fixing this price so that it looks like the prices are better and that, the Democrats will get the votes. I hope they don't, but this is what in your face price fixing looks like right now.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. Absolutely. That's the whole goal. And it's absurd to say anything else, Frank.
You know what, David? I feel like that too. It's like, why even? I don't know. It's just, yeah. Why? Why? Why?
Yeah. Well, I get it. Stu Bob, you were going to say something.
Yeah. What do you guys think about natural gas? Because natural gas is transferred from a cyclical or seasonal pricing to world market because of LNG.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 35 tankers parked around the UK right now, and they can't offload. So the pricing has got to be coming down because we can't, they can't export the LNG. And tankers, did you hear how much an LNG tanker is?
No.
$440,000 a day now.
Just to lease the ship, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
440,000.
We're in the wrong business, guys.
Yeah. And that's a long trip across the Atlantic Ocean with that LNG.
I know that's a lot. That's $500,000 a day.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get from the harbor in New York, wherever it is?
Well, I mean, most of them go out of the Gulf of Mexico. It takes them 2 days to get out of the Gulf of Mexico alone. And then altogether, it's about a 9 to 10 day trip across the Atlantic. And then you sit out there in the Mediterranean, or offshore Copenhagen or the UK,
yeah,
for a week at a time, and you're paying that rate every day while you're sitting there.
That sounds like the rig time. Whenever we've got an oil well and we got or we're drilling a new well, and we don't want that rig time at all. But you've got to get out all the pipe, the drilling pipe. Right. You got to test the well, do all this, and you got to pay for that drilling rig, just to sit there for hopefully no more than a day or two while you do all this other work, and then you got to do. Dang, yeah. That's some expensive rig time.
That's some pretty high day rates, isn't it?
Yeah, those are super high day rates. I think some offshore platforms are less than that a day, but then there's some that are more. But that's a lot of money a day.
It is. My consulting fees are $3.50 an hour, and I sure is. Wow, that's a lot.
Is that $3.50 or?
Oh, smack!
I thought he said 3/5 the commish is what I
3/5. 3/5 of what? Jack Daniels.
I wouldn't doubt it. Anything is only worth if anybody will pay for it. You can put the price out there. Nobody will pay for it. It's worth.
Yeah, when I was at FTI Consulting 10 years ago, I was in the consulting world. They billed me out at $550 an hour, and people actually paid it.
Isn't that nuts?
Crazy world.
RT, you said that you wouldn't give $5.
I would be lucky if I got $5.
No, I thought that you would.
And David, you should not be telling people what we're paying you to be here with us.
Yeah, well, I work a lot cheaper now that I'm a sole proprietor. A lot cheaper.
RT, you picked up on what I was throwing over there. $5 was too much for you, David. We went the free route. Boy, the other thing that I saw is this one. There is a resurgence going on where I thought that it was actually pretty funny, where BlackRock lost 1.7 trillion the first half of the year. Then they quietly snuck it out earlier this week. I don't know if you guys heard that, But BlackRock, was this also your article too, David?
No, that's not.
Okay, I steal all your stuff, so I just wanted to make sure. That BlackRock snuck in and said, we're going to be investing in lesser than renewables, and natural gas is what they were picking. And then they turned out and they got thrown out of, not only have they been thrown out of what, 6 or 7 states, I can't remember what the number is, of the pension funds, they're out. And then these ESG funds are now throwing them out because they're putting natural gas in there, and they're kind of trying to quit ESG.
Well, ESG is on a downward slope right now in terms of popularity. And it should be, frankly. I mean, and when I say ESG, I'm not talking about concern for the environment or equity in hiring practices and those kinds of things.
Right.
I'm talking about ESG investing and denying capital to the oil and gas industry that is needed to keep oil and gas supplies going, because people understand now. People just out on the street are making the connection now between these climate policies that have caused all of this uproar and how it's hitting them in their pocketbooks. And the more that happens, the more that connection is made among the general population, the less popular all this stuff is going to become. And so Larry Fink sees that handwriting on the wall at BlackRock.
I heard today, I recorded a new episode of The Crude Truth today, dropping soon on thecrudetruth.com.
Good. Can't wait to see it.
I'm excited.
I don't want to compliment you, RT, but your show is really rock solid.
It's fantastic.
Good job.
Thank you guys. No, I'm just trying to follow y'all. Y'all are the staple. Y'all are the bar, and it's up there. Like, I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. Thank you guys very much.
If I'm the bar, you sure wouldn't want to try to do the limbo under it.
Oh man, speaking of bars, Stu, we did miss you at the last one there at the Capitol Grill, and we got to get another episode at a bar. Anyway.
Very, very soon. Inside Baseball, I think that one's getting done for Monday.
Awesome.
No, but getting back to this, I think the amount that BlackRock is now is like 10 trillion. That's with a T. $10 trillion is what they are managing.
Yeah.
And they're losing money, like you said, on all these ESG, the environmental, social, and governance. And again, when I drill a well, I have to follow rules and regulations that had nothing to do with ESG. Okay. Those are the rules and the regulations that the state of Texas with the Railroad Commission came up with a team. Now there's some federal laws in there as well. But anyway, that these companies now that invested in ESG companies friendly, they're losing money left and right. And then so not only are those investments been losing dollars, the top 3 performers this quarter or this year so far have been Dutch Royal Shell, Exxon Mobil, and Chevron. Those have been the 3 top performing stocks, if I'm correct. I'm not a financial guy, okay? Stu, you know I'm not. David, you definitely know I'm not.
No, but I always have to pick up the lunch tab, so you're pretty darn financial.
Oh, I'm gonna leave it. Yes, Stu. Yeah, yes. And David doesn't say a thing.
Oh no, not me, man.
I know, but
I just sit there quietly and let somebody else grab the check.
I know. Oh, you're always in the anyway. But no, so those are the top 3 performing stocks there are right now. And yet, and then I also heard today that the state of Texas, when BlackRock said they were going to give us $350 billion, or that's what they were going to invest in the state of Texas, pensions, retirements, all that. That's when the state of Texas basically said take a hike, because look, $350 billion out of $10 trillion, that is nothing. That is a drop in the ocean. Okay. So why would we want to have them invest in what we're doing? And that's why the state of Texas has kicked them out. They've been knocking on the doors in Austin, our state capital, now for weeks and months, trying to figure out how they're going to get back in. And then it's like, y'all got to stop with these ESG shenanigans.
Yeah, I was really proud of the comptroller Glenn Hager, for actually following through on that. And I realized that the legislature passed a law last year that mandated it, but there was all kinds of things Hager could have done to slow play that and delay and delay. And he just went right for the jugular, man. And that's a really good thing. I think it sent a real, very important message to Mr. Fink and his board of
Well,
directors.
what's the one thing? And one of my guests just really goes, follow the money, stupid. It's like you cut off the money somewhere, and
Yeah.
I mean, cut them off there, and they'll start changing those things, different tune real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a great man wrote a Forbes article on that not too long ago.
Who's that? Who would that be? A great man. Robert Bryce writes for Forbes, so maybe he wrote it.
Yeah, that's the guy that wrote Power Hungry, isn't it? Robert Bryce.
Yeah, he's fantastic, man.
I invited him to come on the show and he didn't respond yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried to get him on my show yet either. I would love to have him, love to talk with him, but I just haven't reached out yet.
I
don't
have.
know if he'd
He
do it or
ignored
not.
me, as mostly my wife does too. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about some hypocrisy, as I would say, because I can't talk.
Well, we were talking about Biden a minute ago.
Speaking of Biden, speaking of
Okay, yeah, go
hypocrisy,
ahead. Sorry.
okay, this whole ESG investing thing started with the hypocrisy of, mightier than thou, we're better than you. I want to ask a question. If solar and wind, and I could care less, to be honest with you, I don't care if it's solar, wind, nuclear.
Yeah, as long as it works.
Hey, if it works, I don't care.
Yeah.
But do you see any factories being run by solar or wind?
No, well, some claim, yeah. So there are factories that claim to be run solely on renewables.
Just
Whether
thought
they
I'd
actually
ask that
are
one.
is a different question.
Okay, RT, you and I have talked about recycling on things. I'm sorry, this green weenie that sorry, I didn't say that, but this article was written about the great things of recycling solar panels. Do you guys know anything about that?
I just can't even imagine how you could accomplish that in a way that makes any financial sense at all.
Yeah, I was about to say, is that even financially something that you can do and save money?
I interviewed a guy about maybe 2 years ago on one of my podcasts, and he said it's not financially even possible without tax credits or tax
Oh,
incentives.
sure, yeah. I mean, the federal government might subsidize it, but there are hundreds of parts in a solar panel. There's all kinds of chemicals in them, probably
Lead.
35 different kinds of metals.
Man, it sounds like a lot of those things are probably made with, dare I say, petroleum products.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. All the glass. How do you generate enough heat to manufacture glass on a massive scale? You do it with
Coal.
natural gas.
Coal.
Yeah, well, or coal. Coal
Or
works
coal.
too. Yeah.
But
I
anyway, I
mean-
just thought that was funny. I mean,
Yeah.
here I am thinking, I'm sitting there reading this and going, with the UK, with Europe, there's a mass exodus of people leaving the UK for manufacturing. Volkswagen just published last time, I think we talked about it, they can't produce in Germany because of the natural gas. So
Speaking of Volkswagen, I'm sorry. I just realized I messed up. I wanted to bring this to the show. Did you see the article about the Extinction Rebellion activists who went to a Volkswagen showroom and glued their hands to the floor surrounding a Volkswagen electric vehicle, and then started tweeting about how mean the Volkswagen people were being to them because they wouldn't bring them big bowls for them to urinate and defecate in?
What?
Now think about that. And they wouldn't bring them dinner. The guy was complaining because Volkswagen wouldn't order dinner out for them while they're glued to the damn floor.
RT, they glued their hand to the floor.
It's the same people who threw the tomato soup on the Van Gogh.
Oh, really?
Paris
Yeah,
the
those
other
people
day.
are real dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're lunatics, a bunch of I really think it's going to come down to countries who want to stop this nonsense are going to have to really invoke some very, very harsh punishments on people
I
who
agree,
do this
Dan.
because
You say that. Oh,
whoops, we
you know,
lost
Dave,
it.
you talk about that, and well, what I want to
There he
say
is.
is this is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have what? No, a lot of people may have seen that movie. I think it's called Idiocracy or something, where a guy
Yeah.
wakes up in the future and everybody is just stupid.
Right.
And it's
Right.
because the smart couple didn't procreate, and the and I'm going to use dumb people, okay, as they saw it, kept procreating, and then that's what. And I feel like
That's what's
sometimes, like what
happening
you
in
just said,
America.
if we, it is, and what it is we are giving in to these people with all their ideas, and we're, you know, and it's like that less than 1%. Look, I understand minorities needing, you know, diversification and things like that. But when we're giving in to groups of people that are less than 1% in anything, that just that blows my mind.
Yeah.
And then
Hey.
when you think about it, you know, I did a radio interview today and talked about, I guess Bill Gates is on a new tyrant. And I said in the new tyrant, I said, you know what? Bill Gates at one time was one of the greatest entrepreneurs, because that is what America is about, is entrepreneurs. However, he needs to stick with software and not worry about doctors and energy. You know, that's
And
not his cup of
vaccines,
tea.
yeah.
But what I'm getting at is we've created now so many which is a great thing. Okay, I don't want to stop, but this pie is so big. It used to be, let me go get my own, let me create my own part of the pie, let me go work hard. Now this pie is so big that we have this generation that is, I need my piece of the pie for doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that these guys that were at the Volkswagen dealership, it's like, no, you plan it out. You want to do a sit-in, you want to do something, you bring the bags, you bring the stuff,
Yeah.
you get ready to be there for as long as it takes. I mean, that's what they did there in the 1960s. You know, when they had their protests, whether it was, you know, good, bad, or any different protesting, you know, whether it was great stuff for the civil rights or bad stuff for the Vietnam War. And that's what I meant by that. I think that the civil rights protests were great. I think the Vietnam protests were bad, because those are still Americans that were over there doing what they thought was right, and they're Americans. But anyway, but people brought everything they needed and didn't rely on other people to say, hey, I'm hungry, bring me something to eat.
Well, yeah, you know, they're complaining to the people they're damaging, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with most of this is, you know, when those folks threw that tomato soup on the Van Gogh, that's just a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
It's not a felony. And so they went and they paid a fine, and they were right back out doing the same thing the next day.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to make doing these things a felony, punishable by jail time. And once you do that and start putting them in jail, it'll all stop.
That's true.
Is that the article? Yeah, Bill Gates.
I
doing
think
his-
so. Yeah.
He says, Bill Gates says European energy crisis is good. What
Yeah,
a
that it's
knothead.
good that we're going to suffer now. That's right. Yeah, that we're going to suffer now for the betterment of everybody's future. And it's like, no. Oil and gas has been the greatest thing that has happened to the world and to the environment, to where we're not burning coal all the time, that we're not burning all the wood in the rainforest just to stay warm during the winter and eat good warm food.
Well, you
And-
need to understand that is really and truly how all these people think. It's how Jennifer Granholm thinks, Pete Buttigieg. I would say Joe Biden, but I'm not sure he thinks. But it's really in how the people in Germany and at the EU. It's what they really truly believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's scary.
Turley
You know-
showing us his granny glasses there.
No, these are my Granholms.
Yeah,
In
Granholm
case
glasses.
anybody, you know, saw the first
Granholms.
one, these are my
Yeah.
Granholms. That's a new style now.
Yeah,
Hi, I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah, that's exactly right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a travesty. You know, I was talking with. Did you see that? I did a podcast with Michael Cymbalus, this chief investment officer at JP Morgan
That was
last week. And
fabulous, by the way. And your
Yeah.
article out of the transcript huge.
Thank you. But I mean, one thing he said that was really striking in that is that one thing this energy crisis in the US is showing us that in these cabinet positions, some of these cabinet positions, you really need to have truly qualified people in those jobs. And he specifically was pointing to the energy department, the department secretary of energy, and talked about how Ernesto Muniz was a scientist, a brilliant man, did a great job as energy secretary, really did in the Obama administration, given what he was having to handle there. But then you've gone through Rick Perry, who was a fine governor of Texas, has absolutely no expertise in energy whatsoever, other than, well, I won't even say that. And now we've got Jennifer Granholm, who's just a political hack, who doesn't know anything about anything.
No.
And the point I made to him was that I totally agree with that, but I think you're also seeing we need to have a similar kind of qualified person at the Department of Transportation. Because
Really?
what a mess our supply chains are in.
Wait,
What a
are you telling
mess.
me that a local mayor
Right, yeah,
does
mayor
not
of
qualify
South
for
Bend,
somebody to take
Indiana.
over a national position overnight?
Right. Yeah,
Now,
exactly. He's
guys,
an idiot.
he's the front runner for running for
Oh, yeah.
president.
Right. Yeah. And that's the whole reason he was put in that job, by the way.
Yeah,
to give him
don't
a
be dissing
platform.
him. He's going to
No,
take on Trump.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh man, that would be
God
interesting.
help us.
Yeah.
Maybe AOC can be his running mate. That'll be perfect.
Okay. Did you guys see? This is where I get a little grumpy. Did you guys? I'm an old man. You know that. Now,
Get off my lawn.
get off my lawn. Did you guys see those two idiots that were saying we've got to ban farming because it is the
Oh.
most polluting thing they've ever
Yeah.
seen? I was on what they call Twitter today.
What? No, I did not see that. And but of course, we know how good I am with Twitter.
Yeah.
But really, two people said we need to ban farming.
Unbelievable.
I think there's an emoji that says SMH, and I learned it the
yeah.
other day. It means
What is
shaking my
SMH?
head. That means
Huh?
shaking my head.
What is SMH?
Shaking my head.
Oh, got it. Okay. I don't know these things.
It's okay.
You guys just, man, y'all are just out of the groove here, man. You got to be spiffy like me and be up to date on all this stuff.
Hey, yeah, how are those Dodgers doing again?
Yeah,
Up to date.
well, okay. But they've been doing that since the 60s. So
Well,
Oh,
you know,
man.
I just want to be like you guys. I'm not cool yet.
Oh, man, I enjoy these times and talking with you guys. I really hope that we're going to see some good changes here in about 3 weeks. If not, I'll be praying even more for our country and for all our leaders.
And for the
I mean,
world,
that's important, good, bad, or indifferent. And, it's been a good day today. I can't complain. But I enjoy these times and what a time to be alive. Like,
boy,
I
isn't that
can't
the
wait.
truth?
I can't wait. I remember hearing the people, the greatest generation talk, the baby boomers, which my father's a part of, and all the stories that each one of those generations. What stories? What great stuff we're gonna have to come around and share with people, and hopefully about how we overcame all this. Because we did it once in 1979, and history does unfortunately repeat itself sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
So that would be fortunate. Yeah.
I think
would be-
Biden has taken the crown away from Jimmy Carter.
oh,
Hands
Oh,
down.
yeah. It's not even close.
No. No,
it's-
but I'll tell you, RT, with that, you just closed us out as a phenomenal closing. And I'm going to give a shout out to my Energy News Beat podcast. I got 10 in the can that I'm trying to get out. So I got to get
Oh
those
my
podcasts
gosh.
out. So
man.
anyway, thank you guys. I am not worthy to hang with you, but 3 podcasters walk into a bar. We got another episode coming out next Monday. David, you're going to be on a cruise.
I'm going to go on vacation, guys.
Oh,
Hey,
my
I'll be going for
goodness.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I'm gonna be
Right.
missing, I've got to get my David fix. How in the world am I gonna write any stories with you gone?
I can't even imagine, Stu. I don't know what you're gonna do.
My stories are gonna look like RT. Just kidding. Hey, thanks everybody. RT
Thank
and
you.
David, you guys rock, and we will talk to you guys soon.